In today's world, it is common to link wealth to the accumulation of material goods, social status, and financial power. We are often led to believe that happiness and satisfaction derive from the possession of valuable objects and the incessant pursuit of material achievements. However, Stoicism questions this mentality and discovers a deeper and more lasting form of wealth. Remember that there are thousands of multimillionaires out there with mental problems due to their attachment to material goods and social status. For the Stoics, true wealth lay not in the quantity of possessions we owned, but in the quality of our mind and the ability to find satisfaction and serenity in simplicity. They believed that having an excess of material goods brought more worries and anxieties than real benefits to life. Instead, they proposed a different approach to achieving true wealth: material detachment and the value of the essential. In a world centered on consumption and the quest for more, Stoicism offers a transformative perspective, emphasizing that true wealth lies not in the amount of possessions we accumulate, but in the ability to value what is truly essential to our existence. Material detachment invites us to free ourselves from the bonds of unbridled consumerism and to understand that material things play a secondary role in our search for happiness. By separating our identity and well-being from what we own, we find an inner freedom that allows us to live in a more authentic and light-hearted way. The essence of our existence lies in cultivating virtues, nurturing meaningful relationships, and finding joy in simple things. By letting go of excessive materialism and valuing the essential, we make room for a more meaningful life, free from unnecessary suffering caused by the incessant search for material goods. This was often represented by the very voluntary discomfort that some of the Stoics practiced, like Marcus Aurelius. These were things like sleeping on the floor instead of a luxurious bed, taking a cold bath, and sometimes even eating sensible food. This leads us to value what we already have, knowing that we can make do with what we have and find true happiness in the simple things that really have value. If you like the content, like it and subscribe to help train new Stoics. Cultivating virtues and personal improvement. Cultivating virtues is a journey that requires self-discipline and constant practice. As we strive to improve these qualities in our lives, we become wiser, nobler, and more original people. Self-improvement also involves self-knowledge and self-reflection. We need to be aware of our weaknesses and limitations, seeking to improve them and overcome our shortcomings. This doesn't mean striving for absolute perfection, but seeking a better version of ourselves, constantly progressing towards virtue. This leads us to think that it is only about improving ourselves, which is not true. Stoics seek to be better so that they can add to society as a whole. It's about what we do for others. Marcus Aurelius says, "The fruit of this life is good character and acts for the common good." The Stoics didn't study this philosophy to become better only for themselves, but rather to contribute to their community, country, and humanity as a whole. To achieve this feat of personal improvement, we must take one step at a time in the right direction. This is certainly one of our biggest problems today. We know what we need to do, don't we? We have the information. The problem lies in taking action. Marco Aurelio says, "You could be good today, but you choose tomorrow." We procrastinate. We say, "I'm going to start the diet, I'm going to start writing the novel, I'm going to start cleaning the house. I won't do it today, I'll do it tomorrow." If it were just a matter of information, no one would be overweight. No one would be unhealthy. Everyone would have defined abs. All the projects would be completed. Let's face it, we know how to do it. The problem is that we don't act. We don't take the necessary steps. That's why the Stoics value the discipline of action. At the end of the day, what matters is action. It's not what we say, it's not what we think, it's what we do. What action are you going to take? What step are you going to take? And in fact, that's how things are completed, step by step. You just have to take the first step. Marcus Aurelius says that no one can stop you from doing this, only yourself. Live in the present moment and practice acceptance. Amid the hustle and bustle of today's world, it's easy to get lost in worries about the future or regrets about the past. However, Stoicism invites us to value the richness of the present moment and to cultivate the practice of acceptance, allowing us to live with serenity and gratitude for what we have in hand. Living in the present is a skill that requires constant training of the mind. Stoicism reminds us that the past is gone and the future is still uncertain, but the only moment over which we have control is now. Learning to be truly present, aware of our actions and sensations in the moment, frees us from the anxieties caused by past events that cannot be changed, and from worries about what is yet to come. Acceptance frees us from the weight of unnecessary suffering caused by resistance to reality, If you find yourself suffering from the anxiety caused by the uncertainty of the future or the persecution of past problems, I've left a link in the first comment to help you get rid of these disturbing thoughts. See the first comment. Gratitude and contentment with what we have. Gratitude is the practice of recognizing and appreciating the good things we have in our lives. It is an exercise in recognizing and appreciating blessings, whether big or small. Cultivating gratitude helps us to focus on what we have, rather than on what we lack. It also guides us towards an attitude of humility, recognizing that not everything is under our control, and that we receive contributions from other people and the environment around us. This awareness allows us to develop greater empathy for others and to value the relationships in our lives. Cultivating gratitude and contentment is a daily practice that helps us change our perspective and find true abundance in the present. Don't get it wrong. Stoicism doesn't devalue your will to want more, but what they meant was not to always put all your will, happiness and ambition into wanting more, because according to them, that would be a path to mental and spiritual misery. Impartiality in circumstances. In an ever-changing world, we are often affected by external circumstances that are beyond our control. Stoicism reminds us that we cannot control what happens around us, but we can control how we react to these situations. Impartiality helps us to separate our emotions and reactions from external events, maintaining clarity even in the midst of chaos. In other words, it's not an action and a reaction, but rather an action, a judgment about that action, and only then do we have a reaction. Impartiality also helps us to avoid emotional extremes. When we get carried away by our passions, we can become impulsive and make rash decisions that are often harmful. By remaining impartial, we are able to analyze the situation more clearly and make more rational and wise decisions. This is the essence of the dichotomy of control, the most fundamental principle of Stoic philosophy. As Epictetus convincingly stated, the main task of life is simply this: to identify and separate the things that are under our control and those that are not, so that we can clearly tell ourselves which external things we cannot control and which have to do with the choices we do control. Stoicism invites us to find true wealth in simplicity, inner wisdom, and the ability to appreciate the blessings of life that cannot be bought. Wealth is not only in possessing large amounts of material goods, but in learning to live with few needs and finding contentment in each present moment. Thus, Stoicism inspires us to seek an inner wealth that transcends materialism and enriches our lives in a meaningful and lasting way. But let's be clear, this isn't about being a goody-goody and doing whatever others put their finger in front of you to do, because that's a trap the Stoics avoided. To find out how to deal with this, I've made a video showing the precautions you should take. Click on the video and watch it now.